You know, I was raised right here at this very same spot, and it was really unusual when I was younger to see deer. And now we have, most of the time, we have several deer, maybe sometimes as many as 50 come out onto the meadows, and we have them have their fawns right close here. That we just never happened 70 years ago.
Looks beautiful now. It's probably some of the most desirable land in the United States. It's considered one of the best examples of the short grass prairie, and people were enticed to come out here for free land and large acreages, substantially more than what was available in the Midwest. And not being unfamiliar with the country, people came here by the thousands. There were estimated to be 19,000 people in Phillips County at the height of the Homestead era in the early 1920s. And this land was plowed and farmed and overgrazed until it was a natural disaster of catastrophic proportions. There was bare ground, there were weeds growing everywhere, there was very little grass, there was very, very, very little wildlife. No big game species at all, antelope or deer or elk. There were small remnant bird populations. And between the droughts and the depression area, no income, most of the people left this community, left the area. And this is a west-wide phenomenon, not just Phillips County. So as time progressed, through cooperative grazing with the Soil Conservation Service and the Bureau of Land Management, which was part of the Interior Department, I believe then, the remnants of the ranching community in the Homestead area reclaimed all of this property, or actually restored it. It went from bare ground to, lush grass, diverse rangelands that support some of the best wildlife populations in the short grass prairie. And when people come here to visit and look around and look at the abundant forage and the abundant wildlife and the livestock herds and the grains that are growing in here, they think that it needs protecting. Well, it has already been restored. This is the reason the conservation community is in here looking at this area, is because it's already done.
I love getting up every day with too much to do. I know with the place that I have, I won't get it all done. And you've been here today. I got a crisis with my well. Hey, that is nothing. Let me tell you something about ranching. Ranching is a fun thing. And I lost a brother in a car accident in 1965, and I was so defeated. I didn't know what I could do. I couldn't go back and replace that. But I learned to get this much out of it. I know when I've had bad luck. I haven't had any bad luck today. I'll fix that well. We'll get Pete showered. Or deodorant, one or the other. But there's a big difference, and people have to realize a big difference between have something to do, have something to fix, than bad luck.
In the ranching vocation, there are things that have to be done at a certain time of the year, bar no excuses. It doesn't matter the weather, whether I want to or not. It's a demanding way to live, but there's so much reward. I get to do every day what people pay thousands of dollars to do on a vacation. I get to ride ATVs, to manage the cattle. I get to see wildlife. I get recreational opportunities, wildlife observation opportunities. If I was a birder, I would be in heaven here because there's so many birds and diversity of wildlife. I get to watch crop growth. I get to watch animals born in the spring. I see the burst of life in the spring and the diminishment of life in the fall. What a wonderful life. I wouldn't be anywhere, and my children want to be here.
We, in order to, especially, the guys out south, some of them are 50 miles of gravel roads. I'm sure most of their pantries are very full because or at least they try to keep them that way, because it's probably not unusual that they be snowed into their particular house for a month's time.
Greg Oxart lives way over there. Sometimes I feed his cows in the wintertime because he can't get here. That's what a neighbor does for him, because he can't plow out snow. And we have phones, and I'll stop there 30 minutes. I can feed his cows, and it takes him all day to try to snow plow over here. I'm tickled to death to do it. He'd do the same for me. That's what a neighbor does for the other neighbor. He watches out for me on any place he can. I watch out for him. And that's just the two of us. We watch out for the Barthmas Ranch. Very good people, very good neighbors. And to lose them would be terrible.
This community works together year-round, whether it's helping the neighbors this winter, like with the snow. I mean, and we all helped each other so much this winter in the snow, whether it was helping plow, whether, you know, getting a snowmobile to somebody or whatever. But we ran together. If we all have to be gone for some family thing, the neighbors will come down and check heifers for us, or, I mean, and it's just a working community. It's not just families, it's the whole community. We all figure that we have an vested interest in not only our kids, but our neighbors' kids too, because we kind of helped raise them, and they, I mean, and the neighbors all feel that way. It takes a community to raise you know, the kids, and they get well-rounded. And I guess I'm very, very pleased to say that not only our community benefits from that, but as we send our kids out, I mean, if they don't come back, the next community gets the benefit of those wonderful kids that we've produced and have gone out, and their values and their work ethics and stuff are so, then they're an asset to the next community also.
That a lot of companies like to hire young people from farm and ranch background because they have a lot more experience and they have responsibilities that others raised in town just don't have an opportunity for. It does concern me about community. There's so many fewer people around. You know, when we were raising our family here, there was got to be about 20 kids going to the elementary school down here at Sun Prairie that they went to. Now almost all the rural schools in the county are closed because there's just fewer and fewer families around. And when the school closes, it just seems like the community doesn't hang together quite as much if there's no school activities in the area.
It's hard to keep get young people started on the landscape, and part of that is the capital cost. When you're young and just getting started, you don't have a lot of bucks, and these ranches have gotten so expensive that I don't want to say impossible, but it's nearly impossible for young people to get into the business.
To me, the fact that there was so much wildlife, and it still is to this day as we speak, says something about the stewardship of those folks in South Phillips County and how they've cared for that landscape. And I've really gained a real appreciation for the stewardship of private landowners in Montana. And it doesn't matter whether you're in South Phillips County or on the Rocky Mountain front or in the Blackfoot. I mean, the reason the wildlife populations are so healthy, vibrant, sustaining is because of the stewardship of those private landowners.
Well, we don't look forward to sometime when we can retire and move to town. We hope we can stay here for the rest of our life. And we feel fortunate that we've got some family to help us be able to do that.
I hope it don't happen right away, but I've said if I crawl out of my baling tractor and fall down dead as a doornail, I'd be die happy man.